Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Let me especially thank Bob Turner for that wonderful introduction. I can't begin to tell you how much we miss Bob in Congress. You talk about policies going from one end to the other. Can you imagine in 2 months you went from Anthony Weiner to Bob Turner? It was wow. I mean, Congress got better by Weiner leaving, and it got so much better by Bob Turner being there. He was just really a voice of reason. He was an outstanding person to work with, and he and Peg are great friends. Rosemary was here tonight, my wife Rosemary, and Peg and Bob and I. We love to get together and really just be able to listen to Bob, his experiences. And I would just say that Bob Turner is going to do so much for Queens County. Any political organization in the country would be running after Bob to put him in charge, not challenge him in court. So I just hope that Bob is going to provide the leadership that Queens County really needs. And as Tony was saying, and by the way, let me just say, if you ever want to see a magnificent play and have a night of patriotism, go see The Little Flower. I mean, Tony's portrayal of Fiorello LaGuardia was just absolutely outstanding and moving, and it's just an evening, the time just goes by. There's so much to it, and yet it moves. It's just absolutely a tremendous, tremendous production, and he does a great, great job. God, I tell you. And even if I didn't mean that, I would say it because you know, he's from Rocky Marciano and everything. I don't want to be anything with that. Being back here in Queens Village, I actually was raised in Queens. I lived in Sunnyside for 12 years, and then right nearby here on 25th Street and 112th Avenue for 7 or 8 years in the 1950s. And I know that Joe King is here, and Anton's is a great establishment. But I have one very bad memory of Anton. You know, when I was playing baseball, I was in the Babe Ruth League nearby here, and they didn't give trophies to everybody. You know, today everybody gets a trophy. You show up and you get a trophy. I always wanted to get a trophy, and they only gave them like to the MVP or the most improved. There's like 3 or 4 trophies given out. But then this year they said they were going to give a trophy to every kid on the winning team. Well, we ended up in a first place tie, and we lost in the playoff. Then the rumors started, well, because they both finished first, there was a tie, they're going to give a trophy to the winners and trophy to the runner-up. So we all came, and the dinner was held in Anton's that night. And anyway, they said, "The hell with you, you're not getting the trophy, you didn't win." And also in those days, you know, your parents didn't pick you up and drive you, so I had to walk from Anton's all the way back to 25th Street up to 12th Avenue without the trophy that they gave up before that night. So I figured that I'm never going to get the trophy, so anyway, I ended up in Congress, so I don't know. But very seriously, we do face a really dramatic moment in our country today. I can go on, and Bob was there with me in Washington with the terrible situation that the Obama administration has brought us to. And we have a president who apologizes for the use of American power. We have a president who is just spending after spending after spending, and Obamacare, which is ruining our health care system in this country, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to, you know, when you honor somebody as Entrepreneur of the Year, and we talk about trying to bring business and jobs, and we have a health care plan, health care program of a president which is going to just put so many small businesses out of business. It's going to force people to lose their health insurance, lose their doctor, and that is what this president has brought to us. So it's absolutely essential that we do all we can to dismantle and totally eliminate and repeal Obamacare, because our country, it's bad enough what it's doing to our healthcare system, but also what it's doing to our economy. It's going to continue to do to our economy, and the impact it's going to have on so many good people in the country. I mentioned before the idea of apologizing for American power. When you were President of the United States, we were engaged in a war with radical Islam, and his first major trip overseas after he became president was to go to the Middle East and apologize to the countries over there, basically somehow hoping he could win them over by somehow putting blame on the United States for what's occurring. When he does carry out policies that work, then he apologizes for them. So we cannot, as Americans, we should not be shy, we should not be backing away. We have to realize we are the only country in the world that we counted on as a force for freedom, and justice and liberty. And if we don't, occupy that role, if we don't play that role, then the vacuum is going to be filled. And we've seen what happened in the past when the United States was not there. We saw World War I, we saw World War II, and the fact is there is no one. There is no one in the world on our side who is willing to step forward and carry that. And that's why it's so essential that we be proud of our power, and also that we always stand by the men and women of our armed forces while they're serving our country, and even more so after they come home. They are the personification of American power, and without them, power is just talk. It's not real power. So again, we have to be absolutely committed to our military. But what we're seeing in Washington, unfortunately, we're now seeing being played out here in New York City. I mean, it's when you see a mayor, and Tony said only 24% of the people come out to vote. Well, I mean, if we had gotten 13%, you wouldn't have Bill de Blasio as mayor today. And I would just hope, and this is where it's so important for the Republican Party in Queens and throughout New York City to go forward, because if we can't find 13% of the people who want to stand by the police, 13% of the people who don't want to go back to the days of David Dinkins, when people could not walk the streets or ride the subways, when businesses were shutting down all over the city because of crime. If we can't find 13% of the people who believe in that, then we're not doing our job. If we can't find 13% who are willing to come out and vote against higher taxes, which is going to drive business and jobs out of our city, then we're not doing our job. So it really is there. And that's why it's so important to get rid of these intramural fights and stand together. When you go through the neighborhoods of Queens, the working people and people who are their families, who just want to provide a decent living so that families can live in a decent neighborhood, live in a decent home, their kids can go to decent schools, and they get a few dollars left over when they retire. That's our message. That is not the de Blasio message. It is not the Democratic message. The Democratic Party of today is not the Democratic Party of years ago. It is a Democratic Party of a person who spent his honeymoon in Havana. It's the party of a mayor who worked with the Sandinistas. And what are we talking about? And I'm not talking about Bill de Blasio personally. I think Senator know him. He's a friendly enough guy. But the fact is, these policies are going to be the ruination of the city. If anyone forgets the way it was, just think of the administration of David Dinkins, when there's 2,200 murders a year. Think of that. We're talking about 6, 7 people being murdered every day of the week. We're talking about businesses moving out. We're talking about Time Magazine having a cover saying, "Is the Big Apple finished?" So we don't want to go back to that. There's a fine line between New York City being a proud, powerful, positive force and being a city of crime and slums and losing jobs and a diminished economy. So you really have a challenge. And again, when you look at Queens, you look at the neighborhoods, you look at the fiber of the people that make up Queens County, these are real people. These are people who are looking for leadership. They're looking for someone and a party that's going to provide them an outlet, that's going to bring people in, and it's going to encourage people who love their country, who love their city, and are not afraid of hard work, and want to be entrepreneurs, and want to do a decent living, and want to be able to walk down the street at night without being afraid of being mugged, want to be able to take the subway without fear of being stabbed. That is what we have to get the message out to the people. It's no longer fun and games. It's no longer a debating society. And I see Tom Long is here. Was Tom still here? Tom left. Tom, yeah, is chairman of the Queens County Conservative Party. The Conservative Party has done so much over the years. The Republican Party and the Conservative Party working together can make sure that New York remains what it's become over the last 20 years and continues to be really a shining light. Because if we allow the Bill de Blasio policies to go forward, we are going to see the ruination of New York. So seeing so many people here tonight, seeing all of you, seeing the enthusiasm, the level of enthusiasm, to me, it's a great indicator of where we can go and where we should go and where we have an obligation, I think, to bring this city and bring this state. And Bob Turner was talking about me running for president. I've been to New Hampshire 5 times. It's a great place to visit, it really is. And I'm going up there again next month. I understand it's even nicer to visit it in March. But what I want to do is bring, whether it's New Hampshire or any other state, the same message we've heard here tonight. It's the message of America, the message of hard work, determination, not looking for anything for nothing. We're not willing to take anything from anyone either. just going out there, doing the best that we can do, and not have the government holding us down, whether it's President Obama or Mayor de Blasio. The fact is, our city and our country can't afford either one of them any longer. I pledge to you, so long as I'm in Congress or wherever I end up, I'll be fighting for the principles that were inculcated into me growing up in Queens. And someday, maybe, I'll get over the psychological harm of not getting that trophy at Anton here that night. And again, that was the longest walk of my life. I think it's about 21 blocks, I think, from, not that I was counting, back to 205th and 112th. And the only consolation is I stopped by the White Castle and got a hamburger that night on the way, on the corner of Francis Lewis and Hollis Avenue. So, in any event, I want to thank you all for letting me be the keynote speaker. Let me thank Bob Turner for being such a great, great friend, and congratulate Phil and all the members of the Queens Village Republican Club, because you can really show the way, you can carry the banner, and bring the city back to where it belongs, bring the state back to where it belongs, and send a message to the entire country. Thank you all, and God bless you.